I remember 20 years ago, well over 20 years ago actually, I had to do one of those kind of newspaper questionnaire things, and it said, asked me then who was my biggest hero or heroine, and then 25 years ago I said Jan Morris, and she still is today. She just turned 94 and she's still around and she's still my absolute biggest hero. And for so many reasons. I mean, she guided me and helped me right through my early days of being a young writer in the Midlands of England, falling in love with Wales, wanting to know more about Wales. She helped me through all this in so many ways and invited me to come to tea, which I took up with such speed, indecent haste, I think you'd call it. Her work, she crosses so many boundaries. I mean, the obvious ones like gender and sort of Anglo-Welsh boundaries and all that kind of stuff. So she's in so many ways, the word that we use these days is intersectional. I mean, she was an intersectional writer way before we'd even coined the word. And so was another one of my absolute great queer writing heroes, and that's James Baldwin, the American writer. Grew up in Harlem in New York in the 20s and 30s. Was such a strong, essential, powerful voice of all the turbulence that was going on in sort of Black America in the 1960s. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and all the protests and stuff. So much for a passage for where we are today, really, with the Black Lives Matter stuff. But Baldwin, he came from that background, but he found his place to write and to be in a small village in France. That's where he ultimately ended up. So the kind of queer rural thing in Europe it was an amazing. He again, Mr. Intersectional. You read Another Country, his wonderful, wonderful novel. It's my favourite of his novels, and there's just every kind of boundary is being crossed in there. He doesn't make an issue out of it. There's no hashtags. There's no categorization. It's just inherent in the work that he creates, and he has so much to teach us now. Decades after his death. Another one of my great queer writing heroes, certainly from a nature point of view, is Derek Jarman. I mean, I like him much more as a writer than I do a filmmaker, if I'm honest. I've watched a few of his films again recently, and they are very of their time, like a lot of things that are kind of very zeitgeisty. They don't always age terribly well. But his writing's beautiful. His writing is lovely. His nature writing, his book, Modern Nature, particularly riffing off his garden at Dungeness in the southeast of England. That amazing sort of pebbled shore on a protuberance of Kent sticking out into the English Channel, windswept, and with a nuclear power station lowering in the background. I mean, it's an extraordinary place. And Jarman built this garden, wrote about it, and the way he writes about it, and the way he writes about nature, the feeling that he has for nature, is just fantastic. So yeah, Jan Morris, Derek Jarman, James Baldwin, three top queer writing heroes that I thank the gods are on my shelves.